The first storm just passed. Streets are still buried. Power lines are still down. Crews are still digging out. And then the forecast updates. Another system, bigger, faster, forming off the coast. Meteorologists are calling it a bomb cyclone, and it's heading straight back. 48 hours. That's all the time the city has before it hits again. You've been through storms before. You know the routine hunker down, wait it out, clean up after. But storms aren't supposed to come back. Not like this. Not before the city has recovered from the first one. A bomb cyclone isn't just a winter storm. It's a rapid intensification event. Atmospheric pressure drops so fast, it creates something closer to a hurricane than a blizzard. And when it hits a city that's already damaged, already exhausted, already running on fumes, the question isn't whether it'll cause problems. It's whether the systems holding everything together can survive a second hit. If you've never thought about what happens when a city has to face the same disaster twice in 1 week, hit subscribe. This is going to be different. It's Sunday morning, 3 days after the first storm. You're standing on your front step with a shovel. There's still 2 feet of snow piled up. The street hasn't been plowed yet. The main roads are clear, but the side streets are still waiting. Your neighbor comes out, starts shoveling too. "Heard there's another one coming," he says. You nod. You've seen the alerts. "Tuesday night, supposedly," you say. He shakes his head, keeps shoveling. You go back inside, check your phone. The National Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch. Developing coastal system expected to intensify rapidly. The term bomb cyclone is all over the news. It's a real meteorological term, bombogenesis, when a storm's atmospheric pressure drops rapidly, creating winds that rival hurricanes. And this one is forming right off the coast. You look out the window at the snow still covering everything, and you realize the city isn't ready for this. By Sunday afternoon, the alerts are getting more urgent. Major winter storm, Tuesday night into Wednesday. Potentially historic snowfall. The governor issues a statement. State of emergency declared. National Guard activated. But here's the problem. People just went through this. 3 days ago, the first storm dumped 2 feet of snow, knocked out power to hundreds of thousands, and the cleanup isn't done. Power crews are still working. So there are neighborhoods that haven't had electricity since Thursday. Roads are still blocked. Emergency vehicles are having trouble reaching certain areas. And now, before any of that is fixed, another storm is coming, bigger than the first. The city's emergency management office holds a press conference. The message is clear. This is serious. Prepare now. But people are exhausted. They already prepared, already stocked up, already survived, and now they have to do it again. The psychology of it is different this time. The first storm, people treated it like an event, something to get through. This time, there's a weight to it, a sense that the city is already wounded, and it's about to get hit again before it can heal. Here's what makes a second storm so dangerous. It's about what's already broken. The first storm damaged infrastructure. Power lines are down, transformers are compromised, crews have been working around the clock, but they haven't had time to make permanent repairs, just temporary fixes. When the second storm hits, those temporary fixes won't hold. The power grid is already fragile. Another round of high winds, heavy snow. It'll cause failures in areas that were fine during the first storm. Roads are another issue. Plows have been running non-stop, but salt supplies are running low. After the first storm, stockpiles are already down by 40%, and the plows themselves are breaking down. Equipment that's been running continuously for 72 hours is starting to fail. Emergency services are stretched thin. Hospitals are still dealing with the aftermath. And staffing is becoming a problem. Crews have been working double shifts. Since some haven't been home in days, fatigue is setting in. The city runs on people, and those people are exhausted. By Monday morning, the reality is sinking in. This isn't just another storm. It's a test of whether the city can survive 2 catastrophic events in 1 week. Think about what a city needs to function. Power, water, heat, food, all interconnected. When one fails, the others strain. After the first storm, the systems held, barely. But they didn't have time to recover. And now they're about to be hit again. Power is the most critical. When electricity goes out, everything else fails. Water pumps stop, heating systems shut down. The grid can handle 1 major outage. But 2 outages, back-to-back, with no recovery time, the infrastructure isn't built for that. Yeah, transformers that were damaged in the first storm will fail completely in the second. Backup systems won't have enough fuel to run again. Water systems are vulnerable too. Generators need fuel. and fuel deliveries have been delayed. If power goes out again and stays out longer, pipes will freeze. Heating is another cascade point. Most buildings require electricity for heat. No power means no heat in 20-degree weather. After the first storm, people managed. But if the second storm lasts longer, hypothermia becomes a real risk. You spend Monday preparing, charging every device you own, filling bathtubs with water. You check your supplies, flashlights, batteries, candles, canned food. You have enough, you think. But there's a nagging thought. What if this one's worse? By Monday evening, the storm is close enough to track. Meteorologists are issuing warnings. This will be a dangerous, potentially life-threatening storm. Prepare for prolonged power outages. It's official. This is a bomb cyclone. By Tuesday morning, the city is bracing. Schools are closed. The streets are eerily quiet. You watch the forecast. Total accumulation, 24 to 36 inches, higher than the first storm. At 3 p.m., the snow begins, light at first, but within an hour, it's coming down heavy. The wind picks up. By 6 p.m., visibility is dropping. By 8 p.m., the power flickers. Once, twice, then it goes out. You're sitting in darkness. The furnace shuts off. The only sound is the wind howling outside. You check your phone, still has battery, but no signal. You light a candle and wait. Outside, the storm is just getting started. By midnight, the city is in crisis. Power outages are widespread. Entire neighborhoods, entire districts, over 1 million people without electricity. And this time, the utility companies aren't saying when it'll be back. The damage is worse than the first storm. Lines are down everywhere, poles have snapped, substations have failed, and crews can't get to the damage. Roads are impassable. Winds are too strong for bucket trucks to operate safely. So the repairs wait. By 2 a.m. Wednesday, the snowfall is reaching historic levels. Some areas have already seen 20 inches, and it's still coming down at 2 inches per hour. Emergency services are overwhelmed. Ambulances are stuck. Fire trucks can't respond. Police are advising people to shelter in place. Hospitals are running on generators, but fuel is running low. And then, just after 3 a.m., the first major failure happens. A water main breaks. The pipe was weakened during the first storm, froze, thawed, froze again. Now it ruptures. Water floods into the street, but there's no crew available to fix it, so it keeps flowing, freezing as it spreads. By dawn Wednesday, the storm is still raging. Over 30 inches of snow in some areas, drifts 6, 7, 8 feet high, and the city has stopped functioning. No power, no plows, no emergency response, just people trapped in their homes, waiting for it to end. Think about what it means to go through this twice. The first storm was hard, but people had energy, supplies, hope that it would be over soon. Now, that energy is gone. Batteries are dead. Phones have no charge. Food is running low. People ate through their fresh supplies during the first storm. Some people are using camp stoves. Others are melting snow for water, rationing food. But the hardest part isn't physical, it's mental. The feeling of going through the same thing again, of knowing you just survived this, and now you have to do it all over. Except this time, it's worse. Elderly residents who made it through the first storm are struggling now. The cold is taking its toll. Families with young children are running out of ways to keep them warm. People with medical needs are in trouble. Medications have spoiled. Home medical equipment isn't working. Some people try to leave, pack up what they can, and attempt to drive out. But the roads are impossible. Cars get stuck, abandoned. By Wednesday afternoon, rescue teams are getting calls from people trapped in their vehicles, buried in snow, freezing. But there's no way to reach them. The city is paralyzed. The financial toll of the second storm is catastrophic. Businesses that were just starting to reopen are shut down again. Revenue that was already lost is now lost again. Insurance companies are flooded with claims, roof collapses, burst pipes, business interruption. Some policies have limits on claims in a certain period. 2 major storms in 1 week pushes those limits. Claims are being delayed, disputed, denied. The supply chain is broken. Deliveries that were delayed by the first storm are now completely stalled. Businesses that operate on tight margins are facing permanent closure. They can't survive 2 weeks without revenue. The economic engine of the city has stalled, and unlike the first storm, where recovery seemed inevitable, This time, there's doubt. By Thursday, economists are estimating the combined cost of both storms in the tens of billions, not just in direct damage, in lost confidence, in businesses that won't reopen, in people who decide they can't do this anymore. On Thursday afternoon, the storm finally ends. The snow stops. The wind dies down. The city is buried under more than 3 feet of snow, and there's no sound, no plows, no sirens, just silence and cold. This didn't have to be this devastating. Cities can prepare for sequential disasters. It's called compound event planning, when multiple crises happen close together, overwhelming systems before they can recover. Power grids can be hardened, buried lines instead of overhead, microgrids that can operate independently, emergency stockpiles can be maintained, fuel reserves for generators, salt for roads, the backup supplies for hospitals. Not just enough for one storm, enough for 2 or 3. Communication systems can be made resilient, and cities can be honest about capacity. After the first storm, officials said the city would recover quickly, but they weren't. If the city had acknowledged that, people could have prepared differently, evacuated, relocated. Instead, they were told everything was fine, and then it wasn't. Other cities understand this. Tokyo has protocols for sequential earthquakes. Singapore has plans for back-to-back flooding events. It's not about predicting every disaster. It's about acknowledging that disasters don't always come one at a time. Sometimes they come in waves, and the second wave is always harder. By Friday, power is starting to come back. Not everywhere, not all at once. But in some neighborhoods, the lights flicker on. Furnaces hum back to life. People emerge from their homes, looking at the world buried in snow. Plows are finally moving. It'll take weeks to dig out completely, and even longer to repair everything that broke. But the city survived. Barely. The people who lived through both storms carry something with them now. A memory of what it feels like when the systems fail, when the infrastructure you depend on can't keep up, and they know something else too. This could happen again. Not in 10 years, not in 5, next winter, next month. Because the storms are getting stronger. They're coming faster, and the time between them is shrinking. The city will rebuild. It always does. But the question isn't whether it can survive one storm. It's whether it can survive the next one, and the one after that. Most of the forecast is clear for now. No storms on the horizon. People are shoveling, repairing, returning to their routines. But every time they check the weather app, there's a moment of hesitation. A quick scan of the 7-day forecast, looking for the next one. Because now they know, the storm doesn't have to be the worst one you've ever seen. It just has to be the second one, and that's enough. If this made you think differently about what happens when disasters don't wait their turn, drop a comment. How would you prepare for something like this? And if you want more stories about the systems that break when we need them most, subscribe, because the next storm is always closer than you think.